Every pool player, regardless of their skill level, is on a quest to improve. Even top professionals are looking to be better today than they were yesterday. I'm not a professional or a top player. I'm just an average guy who's trying to improve his game. But I've learned a lot along the way, and I wanted to create a platform to share some things that I've learned to hopefully help others while I try to improve myself. Come along on my journey as I work towards mastering pool. One of the most frequently talked about topics that I see on pool forums and online is the topic of aiming systems. And there's a lot of different aiming systems out there. A lot of people use a lot of different things. Most people use something, but this system that I'm about to show you is the system that I use. I think it's the easiest for me to use, and it might be the easiest for you. A couple things to note about aiming systems in general. Just because you are aiming in the right direction doesn't mean you're going to actually pocket the ball. You need to shoot the ball straight. A lot of people that are struggling to pocket balls, it's not that they're aiming incorrectly a lot of the times, they're probably just not shooting the ball straight. And that could mean a lot of different fundamental issues. I would work on your fundamentals and make sure that you're actually hitting what you're shooting at. The other thing to note is that an aiming system and pocketing balls, it's not a magic bullet. Pool's much more than pocketing balls. The game is so much more. There's the break, there's position, there's speed control, there's all types of things that separate good players from great players and even average players from good players. So this is just a small step towards becoming a better player. And like I said, hopefully this system helps you. The first thing and most important part of this system is understanding the contact point and where that is and how to find it, how to identify where the contact point is. And if you don't know, the contact point is where if these two balls were colliding to pocket the ball in a straight line, it's that exact point. So if you froze them in time, it would create a straight line straight into the pocket. So from a straight in shot, I aim down the center of my cue, through the center of the ball, through the center of the object ball, right to the contact point. From 10 degrees, I do the same thing. Through the center of my shaft, through the center of the cue ball, to the contact point. However, when I get to 15 degrees, I can now, again, shoot down the center of my shaft to the contact point, or I can begin using the side of my shaft to the contact point. So I step back, I find the contact point, I visualize the shot line from the right side of my shaft, right side of my cue, from my hand, through my tip, through the cue ball, and hitting that contact point. So at 15 degrees is where the system really begins, because anything before that, you're just connecting the dots. So once we move the cue ball this way, the angle gets wider, you start to align on the side of your shaft. And it works all the way through from 15 degrees all the way to 50 degrees, which is going to cover almost every shot that comes up in a game of pool. Of course, there are thinner shots that come up, and when those do, I guess you're going to find a different system or bank or play safe. But this system covers from 15 degrees to 50 degrees. And like I said, that's almost every shot on a pool during a pool game. So again, just to go over it, we started here at 20 degrees. We align along the left side of our shaft from back here through the cue ball to the contact point. Step in with the shot. So now you're probably saying, well, that's great for center ball shots, but what about English? I mean, pool is a game of moving the cue ball, and it's hard to really play pool without using English. So the system is pretty much the same for outside English. If I'm going to set up, I go from my hand straight through the left side of the cue ball to the contact point. And that's outside English. Now if I want to use inside English, everything's just kind of the opposite, where instead of using the right side of my shaft, I'm going to use the left side of my shaft. Now I'm aligning through the left side of my shaft, through the right side of the cue ball, to the contact point. And that's pretty much it.